It is full of adjectives and innuendo that make your hair stand on end if you skim a paragraph, and then if you read it more carefully, there's a lot less there than meets the eye. Rutgers has developed a complete and full, in fact, a long version and a short version of a response to all of the allegations in the SCI report. And we'll probably end up using it publicly at some point. And we're holding back at the moment because it's not altogether clear where, if anywhere, this report is going. The recommendations in the SCI report are not self-actuating. They would have to be enacted by the legislature. And it's not clear how much, if any, interest there is in this report in the legislature. A lot of people in Trenton, a lot of people around New Jersey have been skewered by similarly prosecutorial SCI reports in the past. And there's a healthy degree of skepticism both about the allegations and about the recommendations. Recommendations don't actually follow very well from the allegations, as a matter of fact. One of them is that New Jersey should revisit the Act of 1956, which established Rutgers as a state university and created the Board of Governors as we now know it, consisting of 11 men and women, 6 appointed by the governor of the state, confirmed by the Senate, in other words, 6 public members of the Board of Governors, and 5 appointed by our historic Board of Trustees. A governing body that, in my view, has served Rutgers very, very well since 1956 when it was created. There's nothing in the SCI report that suggests otherwise. In fact, compared to other institutions in the state, 100% of whose board members are publicly and politically appointed, Rutgers and its board have remained in a nonpartisan, non-political mode for all of those 51 years. And yet somehow the SCI report reached the conclusion that it would be better to open up the Act of 56, have all of the members of the Rutgers board publicly appointed, and have a much larger board. You can make up your own mind about that recommendation, but it's not one that would have my support. Now, I've smeared the SCI report with my own adjectives like prosecutorial. So let me acknowledge that there's a lot we can learn from it. Rutgers' failure fully to implement the Rutgers Integrated Administrative System, RIAS, R-I-A-S, is lamentable, and that implementation was halted in 2002 following the deployment of the elements of it concerning purchasing and accounts receivable, but it got stopped dead in the tracks, mainly by budgetary constraints, but also by some politics at that point. We're now picking it up again. There's no question, the SCI report is right, that if we had continued the implementation of the RIAS system, we would have a more comprehensive and more transparent and more accountable administrative system at Rutgers. Let me point out that nowhere in the report is any wrongdoing identified, but we would be better off if that was there. The report devotes many pages to the reimbursement for travel and business expenses. Again, the adjectives are hot and heavy. There's no wrongdoing identified, but it's also true that not everyone who administers the tabers throughout Rutgers gets it right every time. For those of you who are faculty and appropriately submitting reimbursement for your travel and your other legitimate professional activities, please do so. Please make sure that every dollar that should be returned to you is, but please do not put any special pressure on staff members at the university to bend the rules. If you don't have a receipt, you don't have a receipt, and that has to be dealt with in its own right. So we need to learn what we can from the report, but I want to tell you that the tone wrongly suggests that something is gravely amiss in the administration of Rutgers University. It's not, and the recommendations that follow from the allegations are not very logical. I'll be glad to answer questions on the subject. If I've been cryptic or confusing, I don't mean to be.